Hello, everyone, and welcome to the webinar on the U.S. Navy opportunities for the remaining of fiscal year 2026 and going into 2027, organized by GDI Consulting. My name is Advan, VP for Capture at GDI Consulting, and a subject matter expert on these opportunities, and I will be your host today. We're going to cover a lot of material. Don't expect to remember everything, but you can always come back to the slide deck to review the material. I have tried to make the slide deck for this webinar so that it works as a standalone reference for you in the future. Okay, now as a way of introduction for those of you new to our webinar, I have over 30 years of hands-on experience in capture management and proposal development. My expertise spans across defense, IT, health, and construction sectors, and I have managed over 1,000 successful capture and proposal efforts. Let's skip the rest for the sake of time. A few housekeeping notes. First, this webinar is being recorded and we will send you the link to the recording within 24 hours. Secondly, we will hold a Q&A session at the end. And lastly, you can download this presentation by clicking on the link under File on the right-hand side panel on your window. As I said earlier, we highly recommend you download the slide deck so that you can always refer back to it. If you have difficulty downloading it, just let me know on the chat and I will be sending it to you by email after the webinar. Okay, so let's see what this webinar covers. After a quick glimpse on GDI Consulting's capabilities, we will cover 6 major areas. First, we'll look at how Navy acquisition policy is changing, including what it is and the continued use of adaptive acquisition framework, software pathways, commercial buying methods, and portfolio-based acquisition leadership. Second, we will discuss what has changed from previous years. Compliance, past performance, and technical merit still matter, but the Navy is placing more weight on speed mission integration, production realism, cyber maturity, and measurable outcomes. And we'll discuss each of these separately. And third, we will review command priorities across NAVFAC, NAVSOP, NAVWAR, and NAVSEA, with Seaport Next Gen addressed separately because of its importance to services and engineering support. Then we will discuss major opportunities above $300 million. And finally, we will turn this into practical capture and proposal guidance, including the executive decisions companies should make before these RFPs are released. So let's very, very quickly introduce GDI Consulting for those of you who are new to our webinars. This slide is about our achievements. You can refer back to it later, but just note that the numbers speak for themselves. We helped 97 companies win on Oasis Plus, which is a major GSA opportunity, and we've had an 82% win rate on Navy opportunities. And overall in 2025, we had 236 wins for our clients with an accumulative value of $15.7 billion. I will skip the rest, but you can always refer back to these slides for further information. Now, as far as our services are concerned, we provide proposal development, capture management, specialized support services like Price to Win, Black Hat exercises, or CMMC certification support. And finally, we provide customized training. I will go into details of each of these and leave it for you to go and read about them later. Essentially, we provide a one-stop shop of professional and reliable business development services for government contractors. So as far as our services specific to the Navy opportunities, we provide free consultation, pre-qualification assessments, full proposal development, and of course, prior to that, capture development, capture management. And then if your company has its own in-house team, we provide gate reviews and auditing when you're preparing the proposal. Okay, so let's start the main topic of the webinar and start with a discussion of the Navy's strategic acquisition framework. That is the Navy acquisition priorities for the remaining of 2026 and 2027. So the goal today is not just to review Navy budgets or list upcoming opportunities, something like that. The purpose is to understand how the Navy acquisition environment is changing and what U.S. contractors should do differently in capture and proposal planning. The Navy is moving into a period where policy direction, budget priorities, and operational needs are converging around faster execution. So faster execution is the end point. Contractors will need to show more than technical compliance. You will need to demonstrate mission alignment, integration capability, schedule realism, and delivery credibility. This applies to both small and large businesses. Large businesses must prove scale and execution control. Small businesses can compete effectively where they bring specialized expertise, regional knowledge, for example, for NAVFAC, cyber capability, engineering depth, manufacturing capacity, or a strong teaming position. Now, the central thesis is this. Navy acquisition is shifting from a mostly program by program compliance model towards a portfolio-based warfighting acquisition model. And I will try to explain what I mean by that. So, of course, compliance still matters. Contractors must follow instructions, meet the evaluation criteria, and submit disciplined proposals, as usual. But compliance alone is not enough to win. The Navy is increasingly asking whether a contractor can field capacity faster, integrate across existing systems, reduce operational risks, and execute without avoidable delay. So that is why speed to field is becoming a real discriminator. Integration also matters more than before. Many Navy requirements now cross systems, commands, platforms, cyber environments, and mission areas. So for US contractors, the strongest proposals will prove not only that the solution is technically sound, but that the team can deliver, sustain, staff, produce, and manage risk in a way that the Navy can trust. Now, before we go deeper into the policy, it helps to view the Navy market as an interconnected acquisition map. So NAVFAC is the primary entry point for infrastructure, construction, architecture, and engineering, utilities, shore resilience, and installation level execution. NAVSOP is centered on logistics, sustainment, supply chain reliability, manufacturing support, inventory, visibility, and auditability. NAVWAR focuses on cyber, C4ISR, networks, communications, zero trust, cloud, data, and digital modernization. NAVSEA is tied to ships, to combat systems, to engineering, maintenance, modernization, production, and fleet readiness. And then we have Seaport Next Gen, which cuts across the market as a major pathway for engineering and professional services. Now, the important point is that these are not isolated silos. The strongest opportunities often sit where infrastructure, logistics, cyber, engineering, and mission systems intersect around execution gaps the Navy must close. So you can think of this as a whole system, not individual silos. So this matters because Navy opportunities are becoming more execution driven. The government still buys through contracts, obviously, vehicles and task orders. But the underlying question is whether the industry can help close practical mission gaps. For construction and infrastructure firms, that means schedule, phasing, safety, site logistics, and resilience. For manufacturers and suppliers, it probably means production readiness, component reliability, traceability, and delivery control. For digital and cyber firms, it means secure integration, operational relevance, and realistic authority to operate planning. The overlap across commands is also increasing. A construction project, for example, may involve utility cyber concerns. A logistics requirement may involve data systems. A combat system opportunity may depend on supply chain depth. That is why early capture matters, actually. US contractors need to decide which Navy market deserves investment, which gaps they can credibly address, you, which gaps you can actually address, and which pursuits should be avoided. Yes, avoided. Okay, let's now discuss the Navy acquisition policy environment. Navy acquisition doesn't operate from one isolated policy document. You need to understand the policy stack, as we call it. So the topics we're going to discuss here are 6 areas, which will be elaborated on in the next slides. At the top level, DoD 5000 and the Adaptive Acquisition Framework still provide the structure for major defense acquisition, middle tier acquisition, software acquisition, services, business systems, and urgent needs. For Navy contractors, the practical issue is not only the formal pathway, it's how the command uses that pathway to buy faster, control risk, and field capability. So software-intensive programs are increasingly shaped by iterative delivery, cyber requirements, and commercial technology. Prototype and commercial approaches can also shape early positioning before a formal, FAR-based solicitation appears. So, U.S. contractors, the takeaway for you is simple: understand the pathway early. It affects capture timing, teaming, proposal, evidence, pricing, data rights, and the government's tolerance for risks. Okay, so that's the takeaway. Understand the pathway early. The Adaptive Acquisition Framework remains the backbone of how defense programs are structured. Its purpose is to give acquisition teams more flexibility than a one-size-fits-all models. That flexibility matters for Navy programs because obviously ships, combat systems, software, infrastructure, logistics systems, and cyber tools do not all move at the same pace. But flexibility does not mean informality. So programs still need disciplined planning, risk management, cost realism, sustainment thinking, and documented decisions. Now, for U.S. contractors, this creates a dual requirement. Proposal must be compliant, obviously, but they should also help the government reduce acquisition friction. That can mean clearer transition planning, realistic schedules, well-defined increments, mature risk registers, and evidence that the proposal team understands lifecycle support. So the strongest contractors will show that they can work inside formal acquisition discipline while helping the Navy move forward faster. So the software acquisition pathway is especially important for digital modernization, cyber, enterprise systems, command and control, data platforms, and mission software. The Navy is not only buying applications, it's buying software-enabled warfighting capability. That means the acquisition team cares about things like release cadence, cybersecurity, interoperability, data architecture, DevSecOps, maturity, and the ability to move from development into operational use. U.S. contractors should not treat agile as a slogan. They need to, you need to explain how increments will be delivered, tested, secured, authorized, and improved. So authority to operate planning is also critical. A digital proposal that assumes cybersecurity issues will be solved later would be considered weak by the reviewers. Contractors should show how security control, continuous monitoring, data protection, and operational integration are all built into the delivery model. Obviously, NAVWAR is the most obvious buyer, but digital acquisition now affects NAVC, NAVSUP, and NAVFAC as well. Now, commercial buying tools are receiving stronger emphasis across defense acquisition. Commercial solutions openings can allow the government to evaluate innovative approaches without writing every requirement in the traditional specification formats of FAR-based RFPs. So other transaction authority contracts can support prototypes, demonstrations, and non-traditional participation before the government commits to a larger acquisition path. This does not mean that FAR-based contracting disappears, obviously. Many Navy construction, shipbuilding, sustainment, logistics, and professional services still will move through traditional solicitations and task orders. The important point is that alternative tools can shape the market before the final RFP. So a company that waits for the solicitation may miss the prototype, demonstration, customer education, or teaming phase. So for your capture teams, the practical task is to monitor both tracks, the formal procurement forecast and the informal innovative pathway that may influence the requirements. A central policy direction is the movement towards warfighting acquisition. That means the Navy and the DoD, or I should say DOW, are trying to connect buying decisions more directly to operational outcomes. A program is not successful simply because paperwork moves forward. It is successful when usable capability reaches the fleet, or the shore installation, or the supply chain, shipyard, or mission users. This affects how contractors should write, meaning write your proposal. A technical feature should not stand alone. It should be connected to things like readiness, deterrence, operational availability, decision advantage, repair speed, cyber resilience, installation resilience, or another Navy outcome. It also means acquisition teams will be less patient with proposals that sound polished but do not reduce execution risk. So for our industry, the message is to translate capability into mission value, then back it up with schedule, staffing, integration, and sustainment proof. Now, even when solicitations are issued by a specific office, acquisition behavior is increasingly portfolio-based. The Navy is looking at how capabilities fit together across platforms or across networks, installations, supply chains, and mission threads. A requirement may appear narrow, but evaluators often understand the broader portfolio problem behind it. And that's why you need to understand that as well. This matters for capture. So US contractors should not only ask what the solicitation says, you should ask what portfolio gap the Navy is trying to close. Is it shipyard throughput, C4ISR integration, supply chain reliability, cyber resilience, shore infrastructure readiness, combat system modernization, what? So you need to understand that, your capture team. A portfolio view also affects teaming. A company may need partners that fill adjacent gaps, not just partners that increase contract size. For executives, this is a market selection issue. The best pursuits are those where the company, your company, capabilities align with repeatable Navy portfolio needs. Okay, mission systems are one of the clearest examples of why the Navy market cannot be viewed in isolated silos. So C4ISR, combat systems, cyber, tactical networks, ship platforms, data environments, and shore infrastructure increasingly interact. A contractor may be bidding through one command, but the operational effect may depend on integration with another command's system. That is why open architecture, modularity, and interoperability matter. The Navy wants capability that can connect, scale, and evolve without creating unnecessary vendor lock-in. So they don't want to be locked in with one vendor all the time. They don't have a good experience on that. Digital engineering also supports this direction because it allows earlier validation of interfaces, designs, and mission performance before physical changes are made. Now, you as contractors should be ready to show integration maturity. That includes interface control, data rights awareness, configuration management, cybersecurity, test planning, and transition discipline. Now, policy ultimately matters, to sum up, policy ultimately matters because it changes buying behavior. In practice, Contractors should expect earlier market research, more requests for information, more attention to commercial capability, and stronger interest in whether a solution can be delivered at operational speed. Government evaluators will still read the proposal against the solicitation, obviously, but they will be looking for practical proof. Does the schedule make sense? Are the key personnel realistic? Is the supply chain credible? Is cyber addressed from the beginning? Does the solution scale? Are performance outcomes measurable? And these types of questions. This also means generic management narratives are becoming weaker in the eyes of the evaluators. A proposal that says the team will manage risk, that's not enough. The proposal must explain which risks matter, how they will be controlled, what evidence supports the approach, etc. So the contractor's job is to make execution feel credible before award in the eyes of the evaluators. Okay, so that was the policy. Now, let's also discuss what has changed going into 2026, 2027 in the Navy's acquisition policies. So there are 5 major changes I'm going to discuss. The first major change is the shift from compliance as the main focus to delivery outcomes as the real discriminator. So from compliance to delivery outcomes. This does not reduce the importance of compliance. A non-compliant proposal can still lose. But once compliance is achieved, the question becomes whether the contractor can deliver the outcome the Navy needs. That means proposals should avoid stopping at capability descriptions. They should explain how the capability will be fielded, sustained, integrated, and measured. Same thing stands for past performance. Past performance should also be presented differently. Instead of listing similar contracts, you should connect past performance to relevant outcomes: scheduled recovery, production throughput, operational availability, cyber accreditation, construction phasing, supply chain recovery, fleet readiness, and so on and so forth. The strongest proposals make the evaluator comfortable that the Navy is buying a result, not just a promise. Okay, the second change is the movement away from pure program silos that I explained. So historically, capture teams often focused narrowly on the program office, the incumbent, and the immediate requirements. Those were usually the 3 major things that your capture team would focus on. These factors still matter, but they're no longer enough. Many Navy opportunities now sit inside a broader mission thread. A ship system may depend on networks, logistics, depot support, data, installation infrastructure, and things like that. A construction project may involve operational continuity, energy resilience, environmental constraints, and control system cybersecurity. This means capture teams must identify adjacent stakeholders earlier. Who owns the mission outcomes? Who operates the system? Who maintains it? Who funds related work? Who feels the pain when execution fails? A portfolio view also helps executives avoid random opportunity chasing. So companies should pursue Navy markets where meaning their companies' capabilities can repeat across multiple programs. So that was the second change from program silos to portfolio logic. Third change is the stronger emphasis on commercial and modular solutions. The Navy will still need specialized defense engineering, ship systems, secure facilities, and mission unique capabilities, but where commercial capability can solve the problems, acquisition policy is now pushing buyers to consider it more seriously. This affects your proposal strategy. If a contractor recommends custom development, it should explain why commercial alternatives are insufficient. You have to address that. If the solution uses commercial products, the proposal should explain security, integration, sustainment, licensing, data rights, and upgrade planning, things that usually you might not cover when you're doing it from scratch and not a commercial solution. Modular open systems are especially important because they give the Navy future flexibility. Proprietary approaches can still win when justified, but they must not appear to trap the government. And they have had bad experience there previously. The proposal should make the Navy comfortable that today's solution will not become tomorrow's integration barrier. They don't want to see that. So that was the third change towards commercial modularity. Fourth change is the growing importance of production credibility. For ship systems, electronics, parts, vehicles, construction, sustainment, and logistics support, the Navy is increasingly sensitive to industrial-based limits. A technically excellent solution is not enough if the contractor cannot build or staff or source or install or sustain it at the required pace. This means proposals should address production readiness directly. That includes supplier depth, long lead materials, quality systems, configuration management, inspection processes, labor availability, and obsolescence planning. For services, the same concept applies through staffing realism. The Navy wants confidence that key people, key personnel, and qualified labor can be mobilized on time and be sustained. The capture team, therefore, should identify capacity constraints before the RFP, not while writing the proposal. That's too late. Production and staff credibility must be built into the win strategy. That was the fourth one. Now, the fifth one and the last one, the last major change, is the digital modernization is no longer just an IT improvement category. Let me explain what I mean. For the Navy, digital capability is tied to warfighting. Networks, cloud, zero trust, data transport, enterprise systems, cyber operations, model-based engineering, and decision support tools all affect operational readiness. This changes how contractors should position digital work. A proposal should not simply say the team will modernize systems or improve user experience. It should explain how the digital solution improves mission execution, reduces risks, accelerates decisions, improves maintenance, secures data, or connects platforms and users. Zero trust and cybersecurity are also no longer optional overlays. They're part of how capability is delivered. So the best digital proposals will combine technical architecture with adoption, security, training, sustainment, and measurable mission benefits. So those were the five. So to sum up, for contractors, these changes create practical consequences. I covered some, but I'm discussing it here in one slide. So capture must begin earlier. Waiting for a draft RFP is often too late. Draft RFP, not the full RFP. Draft RFP is too late, especially where market research, prototype activity, facility constraints, or incumbent shaping already has influenced the requirements. Teaming also needs to be more intentional. A teaming partner should fill a real weakness or strengthen a specific discriminator. Cosmetic teaming rarely helps, and senior evaluators very quickly realize it is cosmetic. Now, past performance must be mapped to outcomes. The question is not only whether the work was similar, but whether the contractor produced the kind of result the Navy now needs. Technical approaches must show integration discipline, and management approaches must prove execution control. Pricing must be competitive, but it also must be realistic enough to support the promised solution. So in short, the proposal should reflect the capture strategy, not invent one at the last minute. This is understood by everyone that capture and proposal work hand in hand, but it's really important for Navy opportunities. Okay. So let's now go in deeper and take a look at each of the major departments in more detail. NAVFAC priorities center on physical infrastructure that allows the Navy and Marine Corps to operate. For 2026 and 2027, the major themes are shore infrastructure, shipyard modernization, military construction, utilities, energy resilience, and forward posture, especially in the Indo-Pacific and with the war going on and so on. This is not simply construction volume. NAVFAC work often affects operational continuity, mission readiness, and base resilience. Air runway, pier, utility system, secure facility, dry dock, or water treatment project can directly affect fleet operations. So U.S. contractors should also watch the connection between NAVFAC and broader Navy modernization. Shipyard, infrastructure, waterfront facilities, dry utilities, secure facilities, and Guam or Hawaii work are not isolated construction requirements. They support readiness, deterrence, sustainment, and force posture. This means your proposals should speak both construction language and I emphasize that, mission language. So the NAVFAC opportunity base is broad, but several work areas deserve special attention. Multiple award construction contracts remain central because they allow NAVFAC to place recurring construction, renovation, and repair work under task orders. Architecture and engineering contracts are also important because they influence project definition before construction begins. Now, waterfront and dry dock infrastructures are especially important where shipyard capacity and fleet sustainment are under pressure. And we're going to see a lot of that in the Central Command these days due to the war. Now, utilities, water systems, energy systems, fuel infrastructure, and public works support are also rising because infrastructure resilience is now tied to operational continuity. Environmental compliance and permitting can be decisive, particularly on large or sensitive sites. So secure facilities and specialized technical constructions create opportunities for firms with niche capabilities. For overseas and Indo-Pacific work, site logistics, local labor, supply chain planning, and regional experience can become major discriminators. Now, NAVFAC evaluation is heavily tied to execution confidence. Schedule certainty is critical because construction delays can affect operations, tenants, utilities, and mission timelines. So contractors should show phasing discipline, not just a high-level schedule. Design maturity and constructability also matter. NAVFAC wants to avoid design gaps, rework, claims, and that sort of thing, field conflicts. So strong quality control, safety performance, and subcontractor management are also essential. Now, environmental compliance and permitting realism can also affect confidence, especially where projects involve waterfront work, utilities, fuel systems, PFAS, historical resources, or overseas conditions. For active installations, continuity of operations matter. Contractors should explain how the work will proceed without unnecessary disruption to the base mission. They're very sensitive on that. So you should address that in particular. The strongest NAVFAC proposals make the government believe that your team can execute safely, locally, and predictably under real site constraints. For NAVFAC, capture should begin at the installation and mission site level. Contractors need to understand the site, the users, the facility constraints, the utility dependencies, the environmental issues, and the operational impact of the work. This knowledge should appear in the proposal without sounding, like generic construction language. So you have to make it specific to that particular mission or site level. The team should be built early. AE partners, specialty trades, environmental firms, regional subcontractors, and security cleared or overseas capable firms may all be needed depending on the project, obviously. The proposal should make phasing, safety, quality, and continuity of operations easy to evaluate. For large businesses, the emphasis should be capacity, bonding, self-performance, and complex program control. So large businesses, emphasis should be capacity, bonding, self-performance, and complex program control. For small businesses, the emphasis should be niche expertise, regional knowledge, specialized trades, and credible teaming roles. Now, NAVFAC proposals win when the government sees low execution risk and high site understanding. Let's go into NAVSUP. So NAVSUP's acquisition priorities are tied to readiness through logistics, supply chain performance, and sustainment. Its mission environment is different from NAVFAC or NAVC or NAVC. NAVSUP is focused on getting the right material, support, services, and accountability into the Navy supply system. For 2026-2027, important themes include supply chain reliability, inventory visibility, financial accountability, audit remediation, repair support, operational logistics, manufacturing support, and business system performance. This creates opportunities for contractors who understand process discipline. NAVSUP usually buys support where data quality, documentation, traceability, delivery reliability, and reconciliation all matter. So several NAVSUP work areas are especially relevant to 2026 and 2027 market. Financial improvement and audit remediation remain large dollar requirements because the Navy must improve financial accountability, data integrity, and control documentation. Range and base operations support can also be significant, especially where operational facilities require logistics, maintenance, and technical support. Aircraft and ship repair support remain important because fleet readiness depends on predictable sustainment. Manufacturing, component sourcing, electronics procurement, and obsolescence management are increasingly tied to industrial-based risks. ERP, logistics, and business systems support also matter because supply chain performance depends on clean data, integrated systems, and reliable reporting. And finally, contractors should avoid treating NAVSUP work as simple procurement support. The larger opportunity is to help the Navy control material, data, cost, documentation, and operational support with greater confidence. Okay, now NAVSUP evaluation is likely to emphasize reliability and control. For supply, logistics, and sustainment work, the Navy needs confidence that contractors can deliver consistently. That means delivery performance, traceability, quality control, and supplier management are not second-hand topics. They're not secondary. They are often central evaluation issues. Auditability is also important. Documentation, financial controls, reconciliation processes, system data, and reporting accuracy can determine whether the Navy trusts the proposed approach or not. For repair and maintenance work, the key issues are turnaround time, responsiveness, technical competence, parts availability, and quality assurance. So you as contractors should also quantify outcomes where possible. Instead of saying that you improve supply chain visibility, you should describe the metrics, dashboards, reporting cadence, and corrective action processes that you have. Now, NAVSUP capture should start by understanding the process environment. What system does the requirement touch? What data does the government need? Which reports drive decisions? What supplier risks exist? Where has performance failed before? Those questions matter as much as technical scope. So the proposal should show process credibility. That includes documented control, quality assurance, supplier management, audit readiness, inventory discipline, and performance metrics. For financial or audit work, Contractors should speak clearly about reconciliation, evidence, control testing, corrective action, and system dependencies. If it's a logistics and repair work, you should show turnaround control, parts management, staffing, and escalation procedures. Now, large businesses should emphasize scale, systems integration, and performance governance. Small businesses should emphasize specialized manufacturing, electronics, analytics, repair support, audit support, or supplier niche. Okay, NAVWAR. NAVWAR is central to the Navy's information warfare and digital modernization environment. Its priorities include cyber modernization, C4ISR integration, tactical networks, afloat communications, cloud, enterprise services, zero trust, digital engineering, and software delivery. Now, NAVWAR's mission is not only technical, it supports naval, joint, and coalition operations from seabed to space. That means proposals should connect technology to operational outcomes. Such as communication resilience, data movement, decision advantage, cybersecurity, interoperability, and mission continuity. Digital engineering is also increasingly important because it helps manage complexity, reduce engineering risk, and validates designs earlier. Now, contractors who are pursuing NAVWAR work should expect buyers to care about architecture, cyber control, delivery cadence, and integration into real Navy environments. NAVWAR work areas are heavily concentrated around operational communications, networks, cyber, and enterprise digital systems. CANES, C-A-N-E-S, CANES and afloat networks remain important because ships require secure, modern, and supportable network infrastructure. C4ISR installation work also matters because digital capability must be physically and operationally integrated. SATCOM, tactical links, and data transport support the Navy's need to move information across the contested and distributed environments. Cybersecurity assessments, authorization, zero trust, and enterprise service support. These support the security foundation behind that mission. So Navy ERP and business systems are also relevant because readiness depends on logistics, personnel, pay, maintenance, and financial systems working reliably. So NAVWAR evaluators will look for cyber and integration maturity. Cybersecurity by design is obviously essential. A proposal should not push security to the end of the project. It should explain how controls, testing, continuous monitoring, vulnerability management, and documentation are integrated into delivery. Delivery cadence also matters. If a contractor claims agile or DevSecOps maturity, the proposal should explain increments, release management, testing, automation, and user feedback. Operational integration is also the key point. NAVWAR solutions often must work on ships, at shore facilities, across tactical networks, or inside Navy enterprise environments. So ATO realism is especially important. Contractors should show how they will support security documentation, evidence collection, authorization packages, and ongoing control maintenance. So the best NAVWAR proposals are technically strong, but also credible in cyber integration, sustainment, and transition. NAVWAR capture should be organized around mission threats. Instead of asking only which system is being procured, capture teams should ask what operational problem the system supports. Is the Navy trying to improve command and control, cyber resilience, afloat networks, tactical Navy movement, enterprise modernization, decision advantage, or what? The proposal should connect the solution to that outcome. It should also show incremental delivery, transition planning, cyber discipline, and realistic sustainment. So cleared labor and secure development environments can become critical constraints, so they should be addressed early. A strong proposal does not simply state that the team has cleared personnel. It explains availability, onboarding, continuity, and surge depth. Now, large businesses should emphasize integration and sustainment depth. Small businesses should emphasize commercial innovation, niche cyber expertise, software automation, data engineering, and specialized mission knowledge. NAVAR proposals win when technology is translated into secure operational advantage in that proposal. Let's go into NAVSEA. So NAVSEA is the Navy's major engineering and ship systems environment. Its acquisition priorities are tied to ships, obviously, combat systems, weapons, maintenance, modernization, technical authority, production capacity, and unmanned systems and fleet readiness. The 2026-2027 opportunity picture shows the importance of both production and technical support. Large opportunities involve service craft, radar, integrated combat systems, launch systems, undersea vehicles, carrier maintenance and modernization, and of course, engineering services. NAVSEA is also where industrial-based capacity becomes especially visible. The Navy needs not only good designs, but also production, throughput, quality control, configuration management, supplier depth, and maintenance capacity. Now, for US contractors, this means technical credibility must be paired with execution realism. NAVSEA buyers need confidence that the contractor can engineer, integrate, build, maintain, and sustain capability in a controlled way. Not just engineer, not just integrate, all of that. Engineer, integrate, build, maintain, and sustain capability in a controlled way. NAVSEA work areas are broad, but several stand out in the current opportunity environment. Service craft and auxiliary platforms show continued demand for vessels that support fleet and logistics operations. Combat systems, radars, sensors, launchers, and weapons integration remain major drivers because fleet lethality depends on effective system integration. Carrier and surface ship maintenance are also critical and ongoing because readiness depends on keeping ships available and modernized. Planning yards and lifecycle engineering work support long-term configuration control and modernization. Now, unmanned undersea systems and tactical control systems show the importance of emerging capabilities. Additive manufacturing and advanced production support are relevant because they can help address parts, obsolescence, and production bottlenecks. So for industry, the opportunity is not only to provide equipment, it's to help NAVSEA solve readiness, integration, and throughput problems. NAVSEA evaluation will place heavy emphasis on technical rigor and execution discipline. Because NAVSEA work affects ships, weapons, combat systems, and readiness, evaluators need confidence that US contractors understand engineering authority, configuration control, quality assurance, testing, certification, and lifecycle support. Manufacturing readiness is also important. If the requirement includes production, the proposal should address supplier depth, long lead material, production controls, inspection, and obsolescence. For maintenance and modernization work, the government will care about shipyard realities, fleet schedules, availability windows, labor skills, and coordination with government and shipyard stakeholders. Contractors should also explain readiness impact. A proposal is stronger when it links technical work to operational availability, maintenance cycle reduction, throughput improvement, or risk reduction. So NAVSEA proposals should make disciplined engineering and reliable execution fleet inseparable. Okay, NAVSEA capture should begin by identifying the bottleneck. Is the Navy trying to increase production, improve maintenance, throughput, integrate a combat system, manage obsolescence, modernize a platform, or support technical authority, or what. The capture strategy should be built around that problem. The proposal should demonstrate life cycle awareness. NAVC does not care about the initial task. It cares about configuration, sustainment, testing, maintenance, and future modernization. Quality and configuration management should be concrete, not generic. So contractors should describe controls, review gates, drawing management, inspection, corrective action, and supplier oversight. For production heavy work, that type of RFP, supplier capacity must be proven before proposal submission. For engineering heavy work, past performance should show relevant technical authority or fleet support. Now, large businesses should emphasize integration and scale. Small businesses should emphasize specialized engineering, manufacturing niche, data analytics, AI, additive manufacturing, or focused technical support. Okay, let's also discuss Seaport. So Seaport Next Gen is important because it is one of the Navy's major pathways for professional support services. It is especially relevant to engineering, technical, program management, logistics, analysis, and mission support work. NAVC is the most obvious user, but Seaport positioning can matter across broader Navy support requirements. So for contractors, Seaport should not be treated as a passive contract. Holding a vehicle does not create pipeline by itself. Companies need to monitor task order patterns, build customer relationships, prepare reusable content, and maintain teaming options. Small businesses can use Seaport to compete for focused roles, especially where they have technical depth or strong past performance. Large businesses can use it to organize broader teams and pursue complex support requirements. The key point is that Seaport's success depends on task order readiness. For 2026-2027, Seaport Next Gen should be viewed as an efficiency tool for Navy service buying. The vehicle gives ordering officers and offices access to qualified providers for recurring technical, engineering, program, logistics, and management support needs. It also supports task order competition without requiring each requirement to start from a completely new contract vehicle. That's the easy part. Small business participation remains important because many task orders are structured to allow focused competition or meaningful small business roles. For contractors, the practical goal is to be ready before a task order appears. That means knowing likely customers, preparing relevant past performance, organizing labor categories, understanding price expectations, and maintaining team discussions. Seaport does not remove capture. It compresses the time available for capture, in fact. That is why preparation before task order release is critical. Now, contractors should use Seaport strategically, not administratively. The first step is tracking task order patterns. Which offices are using the vehicle? Which scopes repeat? Which incumbents appear often? Which labor categories are common? Which technical teams are increasing? The second step is building teams before the task order is released. Seaport competitions can move quickly, and late teaming often produces weak narratives and unclear roles. The third step is preparing reusable content. That includes management approach language, quality control, staffing plans, transition plans, past performance mappings, and technical modules that can be tailored quickly. The fourth step is aligning capabilities to command specific mission needs. A NAVC engineering task order should not read like a generic professional services response. That's a no-no. Seaport is most valuable when it supports a disciplined pipeline strategy, as we discussed earlier. One final note on Seaport. Seaport proposal work is often compressed. That means Contractors should prepare before the requirement is formally released. Past performance should already be mapped to likely scopes. Labor categories should be understood. Key personnel options should be identified. Teaming agreements should be ready enough to move forward quickly. Technical approach libraries can be useful, but only if they are tailored. A pasted generic approach is easy for evaluators to recognize. You don't want that. The proposal still needs to show understanding of the specific command, program office, mission problem, and performance risk. Price to win disciplines also matter. Task order competition can be competitive, and pricing must support both realism and win probability. The best seaport competitors combine speed with specificity. They can respond quickly because the hard capture and content preparation happens earlier. Okay, that was the last part of those different departments and seaport. Let's now review some larger Navy opportunities that we will be seeing. Looking at the current Navy opportunities, there are 4 large dollar clusters. The first cluster is infrastructure, military construction, utilities, warfront work, base operations, shipyard-related construction, and Indo-Pacific infrastructure. The second cluster is ship systems and production, service craft, combat systems, radar, launch systems, undersea systems, maintenance and engineering support, and that sort of thing. Third cluster is NAVWAR-related digital modernization, C4ISR installations, afloat network, SATCOM, Navy ERP support, technical networks, cyber authorization support. And the fourth last cluster is sustainment and operational support, especially within NAVSOP. I should also mention that ONR, Office of Naval Research, does not have very large dollar value opportunities. So their opportunities are not listed here, but there are still a lot of good projects for research and advanced technology. But as I said, since the dollar value opportunities all fall under NAVFAC, NAVSEA, NAVWAR, and NAVSUP. So I'm going to cover those. For NAVFAC, I have identified 22 opportunities above $300 million threshold. The largest listed opportunity is project management services worldwide with a value field of approximately $10 billion. The Hawaii and Wake Island construction MAC is listed as approximately $5 billion. Kings Base Operation Support Services is listed at $1.94 billion, and the San Diego Garcia MAC is listed at about $1.5 billion. Several additional MAC and infrastructure opportunities approach or exceed the $1 billion level. The market signal is clear. NAVFAC demand is concentrated around construction capacity, base operations, waterfront, and utility infrastructure. Also, Guam and Hawaii postures, secure facilities, and SIOP-related work, and major renovation or repair programs. For contractors working with NAVFAC, these opportunities require more than estimating capability. They require teaming, bonding, site logistics, regional execution, and early customer understanding. Now, I've listed these 22 here. I'm not going to read off them, but they are available in the slide deck. So once you download the slide deck, you can actually see them. So there are, I think, 3 slides here that list these 22 under NAVFAC. Okay, let's move to NAVSEA. We have identified 24 opportunities above $300 million. The PMS 300 service craft and boats MAC is listed at approximately $3.5 billion. The AMDR-S RSC engineering and manufacturing development effort is listed at approximately $2.37 billion. Integrated and combat systems production is listed at approximately $1.5 billion. Several other opportunities are listed around the $1 billion level, including next-gen logistics ship, SPY-6 production, MK-41 VLS work, unmanned undersea vehicle family of work systems work, and multiple combat system or weapons-related efforts. The market signal is production, integration, and readiness. NAVSEA is a buying capability that affects ships, combat systems, and maintenance, weapons, and fleet support. So, contractors working with NAVSEA should approach these pursuits with strong technical discipline, supplier analysis, production readiness, evidence, and clear understanding of lifecycle support. Again, I've listed these here, 24 of them for NAVSEA. You can refer to them later on. Okay, moving to NAVWAR, we see 11 opportunities above $300 million. The largest is Keynes Full Development Production Units, listed at approximately $4.1 billion. Afloat Global C4ISR Installation Service is listed at approximately $2.45 billion. Other major opportunities include Network Tactical Common Data Link, C5 ISR Architecture Engineering Integration, Navy ERP Nets, and the All SATCOM multi-award contract, each listed near the $1 billion level. Tactical networks in service engineering support, personnel and pay integration, cybersecurity assessment on authorization, and ground station support also appear above the threshold. The market signal is that NAVWAR modernization is operational and infrastructure heavy. These are not simply software opportunities. They involve networks, installations, cyber controls, enterprise systems, integration, sustainment, and mission continuity. And I've listed the 11 opportunities above $300 million here. And that $300 million is just, I picked a threshold. It's nothing specific. Okay, last is NAVSUP. There are 4 opportunities above $300 million. Largest is financial improvement and audit remediation support services, FIP 5, listed at approximately $1.84 billion. This reinforces the importance of financial accountability, audit readiness, systems consolidation, and control documentation. The Pacific Missile Range Facility range operations and base operations support requirement is listed at approximately $1 billion and appears as an 8A set aside, making it especially important for qualified small business and team partners. The V-22 maintenance and repair service opportunity is listed at approximately $428 million. And littoral combat ship repair and continuous maintenance is listed at $300 million. The NAVSUP large opportunities signal is sustainment, auditability, operational support, repair, and disciplined process control. And here's the list of those 4 opportunities. Okay, let's now discuss some practical capture and proposal development practices towards the Navy's opportunities. Okay, so I see that we are way behind schedule. Sorry about that. I will try to go faster from here on. So across all Navy commands, capture should begin before the draft RFP or task order release. The first task is understanding the mission problem behind the requirement. Contractors should identify who feels the pain, what happens if the requirement is delayed, and what outcome the Navy wants from the acquisition. The second task is stakeholder mapping. That includes the command, program office, contracting office, end users, technical authorities, sustainment organizations, and adjacent portfolio owners. Third task is understanding the acquisition pathway and likely vehicle. This affects timing, evaluation style, teaming, pricing, and proposal preparation. Teaming should be built around actual evaluation risk. A partner should solve a problem, not merely add a logo. And finally, companies should use no-bid discipline. Large value alone does not justify a pursuit. Certain proposal themes will matter across the Navy, even when the technical work differs. Speed to field is important, but it must be credible. The proposal should show how speed will be achieved through staffing, phasing, production planning, agile increments, or transition discipline. Schedule credibility and staffing realism are also the central. The Navy needs to believe the team can mobilize and execute. Mission integration should be explicit. Contractors should show how their work connects to systems, users, installations, platforms, logistics processes, cyber environments, or fleet operations. Also, cybersecurity and that data maturity should appear early, not as afterthoughts. Supply chain resilience, production capacity, sustainment, and lifecycle support also are cross-cutting. Past performance should be used as evidence for each theme, not as a separate list of contract summaries. The final contractor question is executive decision making. Companies should decide which Navy commands are true priority markets. Pursuing NAVFAC, NAVSUP, NAVWAR, and NAVSEA all at once may dilute capture resources unless the company has real capability alignment. So executives should also decide which opportunities justify full capture investment. A $1 billion opportunity is not automatically a good pursuit. The company must have customer access, relevant past performance, team credibility, and a realistic path to win. Team roles should be secured early, especially for construction, ship systems, cyber, logistics, and technical support opportunities where partners fill critical gaps. Companies should also identify missing proof points. Do they lack Navy past performance? Do they lack cyber evidence? Do they lack production capacity or cleared labor or regional partners? What? The strongest companies will build proposal assets before the RFP while also saying no to weak fit pursuits. The practical takeaway, to sum up, is that Navy capture must begin early or earlier and become more disciplined. Contractors should not wait for the draft RFP to understand the command, the contract vehicle, the portfolio context, or the mission problem. Teaming should be built around execution gaps, not simply around company names. The strongest teams will show why each member reduces risk for the Navy. Proposal discriminators should be tied directly to Navy priorities: speed to field, integration, cyber maturity, industrial capacity, sustainment credibility, and measurable mission outcomes. Companies should also prepare reusable content before solicitations are released, including past performance mapping, staffing models, technical approach modules, transition plans, and price to win assumptions. Finally, large opportunities require disciplined bid, no bid decisions. The question is not only whether the contract is attractive, the question is whether the company can credibly win and then execute. Okay, so to summarize the webinar, the main takeaway from this webinar is that Navy acquisition in 2026-2027 is becoming more execution driven. Compliance still matters, but it is no longer enough by itself. Contractors need to show that they understand the Navy's mission, the command's buying priorities, and the specific execution risks behind each opportunity. NAVFAC, NAVSUP, NAVWAR, and NAVSEA each evaluate industry through different lenses, but they share common concerns: speed, integration, capacity, cyber maturity, sustainment, and readiness impact. Large opportunities will reward companies that begin capture early, build the right teams, prepare the proposal assets before release, and make disciplined bid, no bid decisions. The company's best position to win will be those that can credibly show the Navy why their team reduces risks and delivers mission value faster. Okay, and finally, we are done with the content. Here's my contact information, email and phone, email preferred, and my colleagues. In case you want to set up a call, as I said, we provide free consultation calls, or if you want our services, either way, please contact my colleague Maroon Freedy. His email and phone number are there too. You can email me for any technical questions you have on this webinar or any other RFP. Okay, We are way behind our allocated time, but let me answer just a few questions. So I can say I did answer some questions. So let's start with a question from John. How should large businesses adjust their capture strategy based on what you said? Okay, so as I mentioned, each of these different departments have their own requirements, but overall, aside from starting early or earlier than usual, large businesses should emphasize things like integration, scale, risk control, staffing depth, supply chain management, and proven execution across complex Navy environments. However, they should avoid relying only on size and incumbency. Per our experience, Navy evaluators want evidence that a large team can move faster, manage complexity, and deliver measurable outcomes. So large businesses such as yours should build teams around capability gaps, not just partner logos, as I mentioned earlier. Question from Samantha. Please explain again what you meant by portfolio-based acquisition for contractors. So it means contractors should not view Navy opportunities only as isolated program procurements. The Navy is increasingly thinking in terms of mission outcomes, capability portfolios, and cross-command integration. So you as a contractor should understand how an opportunity connects to a broader portfolio, such as infrastructure resilience, fleet readiness, C4ISR modernization, shipbuilding capacity, logistics performance, and whatever, so you have to find out what broader portfolio there exists, and then proposals should show that broader mission context when you're discussing different things and your capabilities. Question from Steve. Let's make this the last one because we're way out of our time slot. Steve asks, we target NAVSEA opportunities and are a small business. Should our capture strategy be any different? So NAVSEA is deeply tied to ships, combat systems, engineering authority, things like modernization, configuration control, testing, and that sort of thing. So you as a contractor must respect the technical rigor of the environment. NAVSEA proposals should show systems engineering discipline, quality assurance, configuration management, production or maintenance realism, supply chain control, and a clear understanding of readiness impact. So these are the questions you have to ask yourself when you're doing capture and come up with answers for all of these questions. Now, on the other hand, I think you as a small business should avoid positioning yourself as a generic, say, support contractor. You should identify specific Navy execution gaps where you bring clear value, like niche engineering, cyber expertise, or even hard to find technical labor or other capabilities aligned with Navy NAVSEA needs. Also, if you're subbing, you should secure teaming roles early before large primes finalize their capture strategy. Okay, so as I said, we are out of time. I thank everyone for participating in this webinar. I have received quite a few other questions. I will respond back to you all by email and answer your questions. As I said, my contact information is included in the slide deck, so please feel free to ask me any questions that you might have about the content of this webinar or any other questions on Navy opportunities. Thank you, everyone, for participating in this webinar, and look forward to seeing you in our future webinars as well. Have a wonderful day.